Yo, what is up guys? Del Boy here, aka Blue Collar Sports TV. Hopefully you guys are all doing well. If you're new here, if you could hit the subscribe button, it really helps me out. And also, if you could smash the like, it goes a long way for channel growth. Anyway, enough of that nonsense. I've seen an article on Boxing Scene in which Teddy Atlas has said that Gennady Golovkin is a shot fighter. I'll read you guys what he said and then I'll share my thoughts on it. I'm pretty sure Teddy Atlas said this on his podcast. I'm not entirely sure, but Boxing Scene have picked these quotes up and they have an article on it. Teddy Atlas said the following: Golovkin showed the heart of a warrior that he is against Sergey Derevianchenko in October, but he wasn't right. Was it because he was sick? Was it a fluke? Was it an anomaly? Was it that, or was it what Golovkin is now, an older fighter? A fighter that's left parts of himself in the ring, and parts of himself from the first two Canelo fights. I thought those fights against Canelo took a lot out of Golovkin, and I think 400 amateur fights takes a lot out of you. What is he now, 38? He's getting up there towards that number 40. I always say you don't judge a fighter's age in this tough business chronologically, you judge them by the number of tough fights they've been in. In the Derevianchenko fight, Golovkin looked like a shot fighter. Yeah, I said it. You people that want to get your knives out and now have your bow and arrows ready, how dare you say that about my guy, said Atlas. It's called Father Time, it's called nature, it's called aging, and it comes to all of us. But we all don't have to fight for a living. When the truth comes to you in the ring, the truth can hit you hard and fast. Those are the words of Teddy Atlas. He is saying that Gennady Golovkin is a shot fighter, and that he realised that against Sergey Derevianchenko. What are my thoughts on Teddy Atlas's claims that Gennady Golovkin is a shot fighter? Well, first and foremost, we have to get our definition of shot. What does that mean? To some people, I see people overuse the word shot when they talk about a fighter. To me, a shot fighter is when a fighter is nowhere near the level he was at due to age and deterioration, and he's at the point where he can't even compete at top 5, top 10 level in his respective division. To me, that's a shot fighter. That's a lot different to a fighter who's past his prime. Gennady Golovkin, for me, is clearly past his prime, and I think he's been on the slide for quite some time now, a number of years. I first noticed it really in 2016, but I certainly don't believe Gennady Golovkin is a shot fighter. You know, for my money, Golovkin was past his prime when he took both Canelo fights, and he clearly won the first fight and, had a case in the second fight. And this is a guy who's past his prime, but is obviously still competing with the best fighters in the world. Even the Sergey Derevianchenko fight last time out, Derevianchenko is a top 5, top 6 middleweight. And no matter how you scored that fight, Golovkin was certainly competing with that guy. He was very competitive. I personally felt Golovkin won that fight by a point. So, for my money, he's still beating top 10 middleweights. He can't be a shot fighter as far as I'm concerned. A fighter who's past his prime? Absolutely, I think that's clear to see. He's clearly lost a step. But to me, a shot fighter is when you can't even compete anymore. And that's not what Gennady Golovkin is. Now, that is obviously as of his last fight. We've not seen him in the ring since. Maybe he's deteriorated further, who knows. But as of Gennady Golovkin's last fight, I didn't see a shot fighter. I just saw a fighter who was past his best, who's been past his best for quite some time now. I really do believe the term shot fighter is used way too much by boxing fans. What they're talking about really, for the most part, are fighters who are past their prime, but still decent, still solid. For me, an example of a shot fighter was, for example, when Mike Alvarado fought Brandon Rios in their third fight. He clearly wasn't the same fighter that he was in the first two fights, to the point where he wasn't even competitive. Brandon Rios himself against Timothy Bradley, I think that's another example of a guy who's clearly way past it and can't compete anymore. For me, they are examples of shot fighters. Another one that comes to mind is Miguel Cotto versus Saddam Ali. Miguel Cotto would have wiped the floor with Saddam Ali years prior. It wouldn't even be competitive. That version of Miguel Cotto who Saddam Ali fought wouldn't have been competitive, in my opinion, against any of the junior middleweights at that time. He was that past his best. He was pretty much shot. For me, these are examples of shot fighters, not somebody like Gennady Golovkin, who's still picking up wins at top 10 level. You know, who's still pushing some real good fighters to the limit. For me, that's not a shot fighter. Again, a guy who's clearly past his best, but the guy's 38 years old, nearly 40. He's had some punishing fights. He had 400 amateur fights. Naturally, this guy's going to slow down. In fact, he's done very well to remain competitive given what his style is like, you know. He's an aggressive fighter. He does take a bit of punishment here and there. Long career, long amateur career. At 38 years old, he's done something right to still even be competitive at this level. So credit to Gennady Golovkin. He clearly lives for life. He clearly still has ambition and he loves the sport. You know, a lot of guys his age, with his style, with his fights, would have been a lot more deteriorated, but Gennady Golovkin is still going and competing at a good level. The guy's not a shot fighter, he's merely a guy who's past his best. I think fight fans do need to differentiate between the two, to be honest, because I see the two getting merged, and again, for me a shot fighter is not necessarily the same as somebody who's past his prime, you know? That's just my opinion. Some of you guys out there may believe Gennady Golovkin is shot. I don't believe so personally. Share your thoughts below. Is this just Teddy Atlas, you know, making noise as he does, throwing out the sound bites, or do you actually agree with him? I guess that all depends on your definition of what a shot fighter is. Share your thoughts below. Peace.